Hey, this is Christopher with another episode of What's Brewing, and today we're talking with Derek, otherwise known as Griff, for his part 2 interview to discuss his book, Labels. If you haven't seen the first episode, you can look at it in the description below, but before you do, let's roll that beautiful B-roll. So one of the things we were talking about earlier was this idea of identity. And I think that's at a formative age, right? For someone who's going through adolescence, they're deciding who they are. Yeah. And, I'm in the world, of course, of both business, YouTube and online services. And there's a lot of people that is their biggest influence. It's kind of shaping who they are. What do you feel like is the biggest challenge, like with culture and how quick things move and how quick we are to cancel people and to sort of judge them out of existence? Where do you see labels sort of helping to, I don't want to say combat that, because I don't know this is a combative book, but to help augment that reality, to change sort of how we're treating culture and ourselves in and how we're seeing ourselves in culture?
Yeah, I think Blaise Pascal, I don't even say this in this book, I don't think. He said, man, all of mankind's problems stem from the inability for us to sit alone quiet in a room. When we don't reflect, when we don't think, because we're in such a microwave culture, because our attention spans are 6 to 8 seconds, we take people at face value. I realize people talk about how first impressions matter because they leave a lasting impression, while at the same time, it's like, man, what if that was just a bad impression, right?
We have bad days.
Absolutely. And so I think, man, when we reflect on what's given to us, like even this, take a lie, take any lie that you've struggled with in your life or even struggled with my life as a person who struggles with anxiety, even somebody who struggles with overthinking. If I say, you know what, I'm a worrier, I'm just an overthinker and I'm never going to change. Well, I've already just created my story, right? I'm already stepping into that future. Instead of taking that and reflecting on it, is that true? Is that really true that I'm a worrying overthinker? Well, no, I'm a person who struggles with it, but ultimately, there is so much future ahead of me, God willing, I keep living. And so I can either continue to walk in a lie that really just defeats me, or I can discern God's voice by just being quiet to really reflect on if it's true or not. And so for me, if we don't destroy those lies with ourselves, then we're going to walk into culture and we're not going to give anybody the benefit of the doubt. We're going to judge people the way we judge ourselves. So I think it starts inwardly. So if I know my identity, then I'm gonna treat people differently. You
have to know who you are, and you have to decide who that is. I was talking to one of the staff members here. I won't name her for in case she wants to be known, but I was talking just about health. And I think partly understanding that labels can be destructive at a level. They can demoralize someone because they begin to see themselves and feel like that's real. Yeah. But I have feelings that are real but are not necessarily accurate. Right. I can have feelings of worry about things that could happen, right? I could fall down these stairs and land in an ice pick. There's a lot that could go wrong going down the stairs. I don't see any ice picks, but worry would tell me that I could land on it. Right. I remember a speaker used to say that, he had a friend who worried about everything. I could fall down the stairs and land in an ice pick, and be like, first off, there's a railing. Second off, right. There's no ice picks. But yes, it's potentially in the multiverse possible that could happen, but not likely. Yeah. And I think we often get caught up in fears, and we get caught up in feelings that are, again, real. And I don't ever want to diminish someone's feelings because, they're theirs. Yeah. But we have to acknowledge that they're not always true, right. And we have to fight against that.
Separating fact and feeling.
Absolutely.
Like even anxiety, my ongoing and working definition of anxiety is it's the anticipation of worst case scenario accompanied with overwhelming heartache. And 90 to 95% of the time, the thing I'm overthinking doesn't even come true, right?
Exactly.
It's fear.
The worst case scenario often isn't the case that we actually walk into. We feel better about it. Yeah. I think a lot of times worry and fear, kind of go hand in hand, because when that there's this sort of invisible pressure, we feel like we need to put our energy somewhere. And so it turns into worry or anxiety or nervous habits or whatever the things that we do to deal and cope with it. One of the things that I've seen recently in my conversation, just with my peers, my team, we're big on health. And I think getting honest and having open and honest conversations in safe places is allowing more and more people to be honest about the things they struggle with without the fear of there being a label that goes with it. I had a specific conversation. Again, I won't name the individuals to protect their identity, but 2 people in the last 2 weeks have told me that they have had struggles with mental health, with anxiety, with fear, and just were super open about it. And they didn't really know me that well. It was sort of random conversations. And I thought to myself, this is a cool moment because culturally, talking about our struggles, talking about the things that we're, as we had articulated in Celebrate Recovery, hurts, habits, and hangups, those things have been sort of taboo, and it's like we don't talk about that, And I think this book, and I think and many people are feeling this desire to say, I want to be open and honest about my struggles, but I don't want to be labeled because of it. Right. And I think all of us should be trying to create a place where everyone can have safe conversations about struggles. And I love that about your book. That's one of the reasons I wanted to interview, because I think it is one of these driving forces and things that people are starting to pick up on, that, hey, labels are good because they can help us make sense of things, but they can be bad when we say that's all it is.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what impresses me about your book and what you're doing, because I know, for those who don't know, Derek has very publicly and honestly from the States talked about your struggle with anxiety. You've been very open with it. We'll link some messages that he's talked about it below. Super good stuff. It's inspirational and definitely made an impact on me as someone who struggles with anxiety as well. I don't show it as well. I hide it better than most, which I'm a good con artist here, where I show it in probably other ways, but I deal with those kind of feelings. But I love the fact that you have written this out of the overflow of who you are. I don't ever feel like the book is something that is false pretense, that you're trying to preach something that you're not working through yourself. And I think if someone's watching, that's a reason to pick up a copy, because you're very down to earth, you're authentic, you're not we were talking about self-promotion earlier, you're not a self-promoter. You didn't call me, I called you. And I just love what you're doing. And I think many people are gonna be inspired by this. I think many people are gonna wanna share this. So tell us a little bit, if someone's looking to pick up a copy of Labels, give them one compelling reason why anybody who's watching this video should get that book.
Yeah, and I'll give them a compelling reason by even going off what you just said. I think our hearts are like vaults. And when I open the vault with my vulnerability, it allows other people to open their vault, right? And so for me, I think transparency and authenticity are very lost arts in our culture. Because like you said, I'm afraid to be labeled. But at the same time, the more that I'm authentic and the more transparent I am, the more that I open that vault and I'm vulnerable, it draws people in. Because I'm an intense guy. And so for me to be intense, I've also got to bleed a little bit. And so I think Labels shows us that you're going to see stories in here. You're going to read things that are going to be like, wow, I've thought about this, but this is actually written down. And I can say that, I can be honest. Absolutely. Because regardless if I'm being honest or not, I know God knows. And close people to me know. And so, I mean, if I'm going to be tired of the labels that I'm giving myself and others are giving me, then like you said, I've got to be open and honest about those labels, because I can't destroy them if I'm not honest about them. Right. If I don't bring it out of that vault and be vulnerable with it, I can't destroy it. And so walking in freedom, admitting I'm not perfect. I think this book is for anybody who wants to achieve goals. I think it's for anybody who has been damaged their whole lives, but realize, oh, I can actually be delivered from this. Yeah. And I think it's for people who are even followers of Jesus, or anybody who's religious or not religious, who just feels like perfection is a goal and it's unattainable.
Yeah.
So I think
it's unrealistic.
Right. And I think you can find peace by admitting you're not perfect. And understanding, man, that like, man, just the more vulnerable you are, the more transparent, the more authentic you are, I think that gives way to so much peace, and you can walk better because of it.
Yeah, and I love that. I want, my goal for my team and myself and the people that I'm around, I want people to be healthy in every area of their life. I didn't realize how much baggage I had. I see that experiences are one of two things. I always describe it when I teach technical classes. I'm like, your experiences are one of two things. They are either history that is helping to navigate the future, or it's baggage that's holding you back from the future. Yes, and I think that these kind of books, yours in particular, is again destroying these lies that we've told ourselves or other people have told us that we believed, and saying, listen, that's not true. That's not who I am. That may have been who I was, but I can be something more. I can be something different. I think that's compelling and it's exciting. So where can someone get a copy of this book if they're looking, is it in bookstores? Is it on Amazon?
Right now, it's definitely just on Amazon Prime. So go Labels, type in Labels, Derek Griffon. Sometime in the near future, it'll be in Barnes & Noble. So it's Amazon Prime. Get it in 2 days.
Awesome. So. Yeah, if you're a Prime member, This video's not sponsored, but love that Amazon Prime.
Yeah, man.
Well, Derek, thank you so much for taking the time. This was absolutely wonderful to sit down with you, hear your heart. And again, for those watching, if you haven't checked out his book, we're going to put links in the description below that way you can click on those, get yourself a copy. They're affordable. I've already bought a couple of my friends' copies, so it's definitely worth the read, worth the share. And let us know in the comments below what you think about his book once you've read it. And also, Derek, how can people find you? How can they follow you on social media?
I'm on Instagram, dgriffy116, Twitter, dgriffon, dgriffy116. Instagram is dgriffon23. I'm on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. So anywhere, just type in Derek Griffon.
You will find him.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Derek, thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Well, guys, thanks again for watching this video. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to stay up to date with everything that we are producing. We hope that you're doing well. We hope that you're staying safe, and we will see you in the next one.